Oops, it's all villains this time. Welcome to the Bionicle Inspiration series where we spotlight mocks from across the community to give you some inspiration when you're building your next Bionicle or Construction mock, or at least in the month of February, a Hero Factory mock. Because it's time to build some heroes and it's time to build some villains, but today we're going to just be focusing on those villain characters. So let's dive into our very first villain mock, shall we? Beginning things off, we've got a revamp of Meltdown, and this was built by Kanzi1. Ah man, I like a posable waist whip here using some lime CCBS joints. I think that's the best, isn't it? Such a good way to add some posability to that whip, but also still keep it in the same vibes as the original whip on the original set. It still looks like it's made of toxic waste and all sorts of gross things that very much fit Meltdown. So yeah, that was a fantastic upgrade. Otherwise, I really like the slim torso design that they've gone with here. It's a real, bare bone look, you know? It just has that one little CCBS bone in the center there and a few other smaller details. You know, it actually feels a little bit almost like a skeleton, which, you know, certainly feels very villainous and creepy and fits the qualities of Meltdown. Now, of course, the original set had this cool claw design on the hands, and I like that that's still here. You know, there's at least something kind of reminiscent of that, but now they actually have separate hands to go with that additional yellow claw design. So now I guess it's more like ornamentation that's like styled to look a little bit more spiky. That's a good way to pay some respect to what was there before, but change things up a little bit and make it more specific to their unique building style and their interpretation of Meltdown. I really like that. Parasitic Hunter is our next mock today, and this is built by Superior Bricks. Dude, look at this chest design. I love how they've used the awesome split face torso piece, you know, the one from the lovable set, Split Face. But yeah, it's playing off of that torso print so that it really looks like there's some kind of dark red, parasite infecting this mock. And then adding in the dark red octopus piece so it really looks like veins flowing throughout the body. How rad is that? That's such a good part use for that octopus. Plus, major props to Superior Bricks here for finding a good use for that printed split face torso piece. You know, as a kid, when Split Face came out, I never actually bought him because I remember looking at that torso and the mask and thinking, I don't know, this is so specific to Split Face, I just can't see myself using this piece in other stuff, and I don't really see any other uses for it. So it's lovely to be proven wrong here and realize, no, you can find really, really good uses for that piece. Lovely, lovely work. Oh, and then thunder masks for the shoulders. How good does that look too? So much good stuff here. Toxic Reaper revamp by Shubi4000 is up next, and I love that they've included these lime quasar spike pieces on the back. Now, these appeared on the wonderful Invasion from Below set Crystal Beast, and using them here, I think it was the perfect addition because that marbled lime coloration on that spike, it resembles the qualities of poison, so yeah, it's just kind of fitting for Toxic Reaper. Who'd have thought? Now, it's also great to see that they have two hand attachments here. One is, the classic, green weird poison flamethrower thing that Toxic Reaper had on the original set. But then there's also some cool, acidic claws. And I love that. Yeah, swappable arms is always a fun thing to add on. But also, claws like this just seem to fit Toxic Reaper very well. Good stuff. Up next is Paulix Mock Building, who made a mock called Calder. Now that Stormer mask in silver, that sadly doesn't exist, but boy does that mask look so good in silver. I never would have thought that a Stormer mask would work so well for a bad guy, but with this coloration, I think it's perfect. Now, the email mentioned a little bit of backstory for this dude. It said the following: a scientist corrupted by his own experiments with anti-quasar. And yeah, I can see that. I think all the trans-red shooter pieces jutting out of the torso, the blaster that's sticking out of the chest, and some of the other hints of red and trans-red, it really does feel like this dude is messed up from all of his weird mutations and experiments, and now he's using this new form to do all sorts of evil, weird stuff. A fitting backstory and a good way to represent that on the mock as well. Sometimes you get mocks where the backstory feels nothing like how the character actually looks. This is one of those cases where it pairs very nicely, and I can appreciate that. Also, you gotta love a good buzzsaw arm, and then also this big container poking out of the back. I think that also fits nicely with the backstory. So yeah, what a great concept, and very well executed too. Now it's time for Elistar by Elistar. Now, I'll quickly read a snippet of the text that was sent in the submission email for this mock. It says the following: Elistar, the tall yellow guy with a small head, who is, at least as I envision him, the manifestation of the LEGO community's vision for a serious villain in the new age of LEGO storytelling. His popularity as a hero in the community is growing, and very soon I'll be publishing a book with him as the main villain, semi-forcing him into the fan canon of pretty much every and all things LEGO. So there you go, that's what they included in the email there. Now, to the mock itself, I do like this head design. No mask at all, just purely that 2.0 headpiece with a little bit of what's probably like permanent marker or paint or something just to kind of spice it up a little bit. And you know what? I like seeing a lot of the different blank headpieces. There's a few different ones out there, but we've got the 2.0 one here. I like seeing them used as the headpieces for a mock without any mask, just blank like this. Because you know what? A lot of the time, those headpieces actually look pretty cool. And it's good to see this working very well with the rest of the design as well. So yeah, a bit of an underrated way to build a head design, but one that does work very well. He's also got a really cool finger design here, using some yellow minifigure hands to mimic claws for each of those individual fingers. And then the shape of the shoulder design here, I quite like that, the way it just sort of neatly flows up into the head. It was pretty cool. So yeah, lots to love here. Our next build today is by Ivan Martinov, and he's rebuilt Thunder. And man, does this look sick. I love all these wires on Thunder. I think I've come to realize this year during FEB, I freaking love wires on mocks, especially on Hero Factory mocks too. It fits with that robot aesthetic of Hero Factory, and it makes it feel more like real world. Because, the thing about like sci-fi, everything is clean and sleek and pretty. Well, okay, most of it is anyway. But, like looking at real technology and all that, like the robots that we have and different like chargers and things like that, there's wires everywhere. So it's nice to kind of plant Hero Factory in the real world and give it that sort of technological wire-based look that you would expect to see. I mean, not all modern technology is like that. A lot of it is actually quite like sleek like it is in sci-fi and stuff. But, maybe that wasn't the best example. But regardless, having a bunch of wires all over the mock, it does make for a really nice aesthetic. And it just kind of makes sense. It feels like how this would look if it was real. That's what I was trying to get at. I say all this, and this mock does also have a nice contrast of very smooth, sleek, armored areas and these wired areas, and the contrast there is lovely. I also just adore this like pop of orange on the arm. It all looks so industrial, and it's just a brilliant way to make Thunder a little bit different from the original, but still feel in line with the original too. I like that. And finally, we finish off with Explode, and this is built by Max Howell. Yo, Explode with a bunch of ammo strapped to his chest and a big old gun. What a great look. I especially love all these accessories when you pair it with his mask. That like cheeky grin, he just looks so ready to blow stuff up and really happy to do it. And for the villain that he is, especially with a name like Explode, that all just works, right? So yeah, props to Max for, taking the name and the concept of the character, but taking it in a new direction that just makes sense. And especially in a direction that LEGO would probably never actually make as an actual set. There's, too much weaponry and too many guns. I don't really think they would move into that kind of territory. But hey, a fan building a mock, they can do whatever they want, and they can make it look really good like this does. I especially love how, the lime, like ammo things on the chest, they also, you can logically see them on the weaponry there. It ties everything together nicely. Also got a really good looking foot design here. It's just a great version of Explode. A really cool concept and very well executed. So that's it for this more villain-focused episode of FEB Hero Factory Bionicle Inspiration Series episodes. That is a mouthful, that is a long title. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed the mocks that you saw in today's episode, be sure to check the links in the description below and see some of the other work that these builders have built. Additionally, in the description below is the submission email. It's also on your screen right now. Feel free to submit your Hero Factory-related mocks or any other mock to the submission email, and I'll do my best to feature it in an upcoming episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.